Hola amigos, les voy a contar sobre la primera aventura de mis amigos en el bosque. Encontraron un mapa del tesoro y decidieron seguirlo. Caminaron mucho y vieron muchos animales. Fue muy emocionante. Al final encontraron el tesoro, una caja llena de dulces. Fue un día increíble. Manny, Greg and Rowley were back. They loved their first adventure in the woods. Today they were going to explore a new part of the forest. I hope we find something cool this time, said Greg. Me too, said Manny and Rowley together. They were so excited. The friends walked deeper into the woods. They saw tall trees with thick trunks. Wow, look at that oak tree, said Manny. They also saw colourful mushrooms and heard birds singing. Listen to that melody, whispered Rowley. Everything was so beautiful and interesting. The friends were having so much fun, laughing and playing as they wandered deeper into the forest. The trees were tall and the air was filled with the sounds of birds chirping and leaves rustling. They felt a sense of freedom and adventure, completely immersed in the beauty of nature. As they walked along the winding paths, they didn't realize they had taken a different route. The forest seemed to close in around them, the familiar trail disappearing behind a curtain of dense foliage. They were too busy enjoying each other's company to notice the subtle changes in their surroundings. Suddenly they found themselves in an unfamiliar part of the forest. The trees looked different, and the path they had been following was nowhere to be seen. "Guys, I think we're lost," said Greg, his voice tinged with worry. The realization hit them all at once, and their laughter faded into silence. Greg's concern was evident on his face as he looked around, trying to find something familiar. The forest, which had seemed so inviting just moments ago, now felt like a maze. "Lost? What do we do?" asked Manny, his voice shaky. The gravity of their situation was beginning to sink in. The friends huddled together, their minds racing as they tried to come up with a plan. "We need to stay calm and think," said Greg, trying to keep his voice steady. "Let's retrace our steps and see if we can find the path again." But as they looked around, everything seemed unfamiliar, and the forest felt like it was closing in on them. They searched for any sign or landmark that might guide them back, but the forest was a labyrinth of trees and shadows. "We need help," said Rowley, his voice trembling. The friends realized they were truly lost, and a sense of fear began to creep in. They knew they had to find a way out, but the path ahead was uncertain. Manny remembered he had brought a compass and a map. He'd always been fascinated by navigation and had spent countless hours learning how to use these tools. His friends often teased him about his old-fashioned interests, but today they were grateful for his knowledge. The group had been hiking for hours, and the dense forest was starting to look the same in every direction. They were lost, and panic was beginning to set in. But Manny's calm demeanor and quick thinking brought a sense of hope. "Don't worry, I have a plan." He opened the map with a confident smile. The map was detailed, showing various trails, landmarks, and the main path they needed to find. His friends gathered around, their eyes wide with anticipation. Manny traced their route with his finger, explaining each step clearly. They listened intently, realizing the importance of understanding their surroundings. The forest was beautiful but could be unforgiving if they didn't stay on track, and pointed to their location. "See, we are right here," he said, tapping a spot on the map. "We need to head north to find the main path." His friends nodded, feeling a renewed sense of direction. Manny's confidence was contagious, and they felt ready to tackle the challenge ahead. They knew that sticking together and following the plan was their best chance of finding their way back. "See, we need to go north." The group huddled closer, examining the map and discussing their next steps. They pointed out landmarks they had passed and used the compass to confirm their direction. The teamwork was impressive, and everyone contributed their observations and ideas. It was a true collaborative effort, and they felt more united than ever. The forest no longer seemed as intimidating with a clear plan in place. To find the main path, Rowley held the compass, his hands steady despite the situation. He had always admired Manny's skills and was eager to help. "I've got the compass," he said, his voice filled with determination. "Let's make sure we're heading the right way." The group watched as Rowley carefully aligned the compass with the map, ensuring they were on the correct course. It was a moment of trust and reliance on each other's strengths, and pointed them in the right direction. "Let's follow Manny. He's our guide," one of the friends exclaimed. With Manny leading the way, the group set off with renewed energy. They walked in a single file, keeping close to each other and staying vigilant. The forest was still dense, but the path seemed clearer now. They chatted and laughed, their spirits lifted by the sense of adventure and camaraderie. Every step brought them closer to their goal, and they knew that together they could overcome any obstacle. The journey was not just about finding their way back, but also about strengthening their bond and learning the true value of teamwork. Section 6. Lost and Found. They walked for a while, following the compass and the map. Finally, they saw the familiar path. "We did it!" shouted Greg, jumping up and down. "Teamwork makes the dream work," added Rowley. They were so relieved and happy to be safe. Section 7. A delicious surprise. To celebrate, Manny's mum had packed a picnic basket. They sat down on a cozy patch of grass and enjoyed sandwiches, juice and cookies. "This is the best picnic ever," said Rowley, his mouth full of cookie crumbs. They laughed and talked about their adventure. Section 8. Lessons learned. As they walked back home, they realized they had learned some valuable lessons. The forest, with its towering trees and rustling leaves, had been their classroom for the day. Each step they took on the winding path was a step towards understanding more about nature and themselves. "We learned new words about nature, like oak tree and melody," said Manny. The children had spent hours identifying different types of trees, their leaves, and the sounds of the forest. Manny's eyes sparkled with excitement as he recounted how they had discovered the unique characteristics of each tree. "And we learned that teamwork is important when you're lost," added Greg. The group had faced a moment of panic when they realized they had strayed from the main path. It was through their combined efforts and calm thinking that they managed to find their way back. Greg emphasized how each person's contribution had been crucial in navigating their way through the dense forest. "And most importantly," said Rowley, "never wander off the path again." Rowley's voice carried a tone of seriousness mixed with relief. The experience had taught them the importance of staying together and following the marked trails. They had learned to respect the forest and its hidden dangers, understanding that nature, while beautiful, could also be unpredictable. As they sat around the campfire that evening, the friends shared stories of their adventure. The flickering flames cast a warm glow on their faces, and the air was filled with laughter and the crackling of the fire. They talked about the different animals they had seen, the sounds they had heard, and the sense of accomplishment they felt. Roasting marshmallows over the fire, they reflected on the day's events. Each friend had a different perspective, but they all agreed on one thing. The forest had taught them valuable lessons that they would carry with them forever. The experience had brought them closer together, strengthening their bond and deepening their appreciation for nature. As they packed up their campsite the next morning, there was a sense of fulfillment in the air. They had not only survived their adventure, but had thrived in it. The lessons they had learned about nature, teamwork and safety would stay with them, guiding them in future adventures. With the sunrise casting a golden hue over the forest, the friends began their journey back home. They walked with a newfound confidence, knowing that they had grown from their experiences. The forest had been a teacher, and they were its grateful students, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.
Sección 9. Suscríbete y comenta. ¿Te gustó la aventura de los amigos en el bosque? Suscríbete a nuestro canal para más historias divertidas. Y no olvides dejarnos un comentario contándonos cuál fue tu parte favorita. ¡Hasta la próxima!